So earlier today, I was working on the 100 years of school launches video, and I had a great idea to work with GPT for YouTube videos in general, which we work with anyways. But after having developed an outline for the YouTube video, then ask it to recreate that in the Everybody Hates Chris style that we had in the past as a plan. In the past, I was like, oh, the voiceover, the video will kind of be structured, kind of like an everyday Everybody Hates Chris. Not like to look like an episode of the film, but we want the viewer to be like, this reminds me of Everybody Hates Chris. Just like you watch Rantran or watch anybody that might remind you of a particular show. And we're going for Everybody Hates Chris. That's not been taken. And also, in fact, it was kind of inspired by watching our $10,000 hotel thing with my whole voiceover thing. And then I was like, that actually sounds like, my voiceover sounds like Chris Rock voiceover in a way. Do you remember?
Yes.
So, but we always have that in our supposed mega youth videos that we decided against because we didn't have time, because we wanted to go daily, and now we're like, now depending on the day we might try. So it just hit me that way. After having done ideation, I can be like, hey, give me this in the style of Everybody Hates Chris, and that would then allow it to feel more like it.
Yes.
You sound
Okay.
it is more exciting than it sounds, and I was so excited when that crossed my mind today that I literally celebrated that. Because the exciting part is that we only hope that we are able to stylize the voiceovers and structure to give the Everybody Hates Chris vibe. But now it hit me that GPT can do that for us and guarantee that it actually is that vibe. How was I by myself going to guarantee that the American viewer is going, what I'm thinking I'm doing to make it feel Everybody Hates Chris is actually like what exactly is the Everybody Hates Chris vibe? I was just going to give it my best shot. But my best shot was also not guaranteed to be like, that's so in the style of Everybody Hates Chris. You understand? Not just the voiceovers, other aspects of the video, like the closing scene. You understand? Do you get what closing scene is? The closing scene now is self-explanatory. Once you drag like this, it becomes stressful for me because I'm like, I don't know if I'm communicating. Like the closing scene, the positioning of the voiceovers, which is like the narrations, the inner monologues, all of those things that make Everybody Hates Chris, which is like there's just voiceover and she blah blah blah. All of that was going to be tricky to figure out whenever should I want to do that. That should I want to do the Everybody Hates Chris thing. But working with GPT now makes it not only much more feasible than before, but much easier. All I have to do is do the usual YouTube ideation, which I do with GPT anyways. Then develop an outline and scenes for the video. Then run them through GPT to add some Everybody Hates Chris style to them. Heck, I could even go ahead and create a GPT dedicated to stylizing things in the Everybody Hates Chris vibe. That way, after I work with GPT as usual to build a video out, I will just go to that GPT, that's the Everybody Hates Chris GPT, and then just ask it, hey, fine-tune this outline. I don't even have to tell you how, because the GPT knows that everything that comes here should come out feeling Everybody Hates Chris vibe. And you might not understand how much, maybe you don't understand how the Everybody Hates Chris vibe truly is and the trickiness of it. So maybe you don't get how much... But an example that might show that is... is for the videos, you didn't even see the former versions of them because that's when it hit me. It was when I was doing that and I was working out of the video. I've worked out the intros for the video, which are like the voiceovers for each of the decade, and then it hit me and I was like, so now let's get that in the form in the form of Everybody Hates Chris voiceover. So an example is this is a mashed potato and gravy with sliced ham meal. Back in the 1910s, when the biggest worry was a flat tire on your bicycle, schools dished out simple meals like this. No fuss, no muss, just good old mashed potatoes and ham. Now, if you look at the normal one, will sound like this is a mashed potato and gravy with slices. Back in the 1910s, life was more straightforward, and this simple hearty meal was just what schools needed. Now you see it has some sort of wittiness to the voiceover, which is what Everybody Hates Chris voiceovers carried, narration carried. It's like there's a joke in each. Every time it has to make a voiceover, there's like a joke. You understand? It's like writing something in the style of Felicity of Arrow. You already know that then it means the character will say something that also has another meaning that they are trying to, nobody is thinking that other meaning, then they think that everybody is thinking that meaning, then they end up then bringing everybody's attention to that meaning. You understand? Whereas with that's for Felicity, for like Chris and Everybody Hates Chris, it's kind of like always making references that are supposed to be funny. Now, these are things that may not have hit me directly when writing the voiceovers. That's exactly it, because when I just read it, I'm like, oh yeah, I see the Everybody Hates Christians there. Or even if it hit me, I might not know the best way to, whether or not I want to infuse a joke into what is supposed to be a description, or what joke is truly relatable, as I am not truly from America to understand the culture of the audience that we are targeting. But with GPT, it means I can take I don't know any voiceovers already done, but I can take something like a gaming room video and then take all the voiceovers that I already have and then put it to this in and ask it. And the voiceovers that I have are going to be reaching the usual voiceovers we see on the videos. And then I had to go to the market. Oh, we had to hurry because I had less than 10 minutes. They'll soon be back. Oh, everything was going well, but then this happened. The typical voiceovers that we know on YouTube. But now and then I copy them, post them, and ask GPT to write them in the style of Everybody Hates Chris narration. That means is that you then have something like, and just before a funny joke, I then had to quickly get that going. That is a style of voiceover that just makes the presentation of the video unique, like seriously unique in comparison to everything out there. So let's say this gaming room was taking, let me say, rephrase this with Everybody Hates Chris style voiceover. So let me say something like, the gaming room was taking forever, and with Derek 10 minutes away, I had to go shop for more items. So let's say this was the voiceover. So it means that I say, man, that gaming room was taking an eternity to get ready. And with Derek just 10 minutes out, I had to hustle to the store to grab some more stuff. So you see, there's some sense of like funny guy character. So maybe do same for this. The water bed was taking forever, and just when we were almost done, we ran into our biggest problem yet. Now, that's what you see typically on a YouTube video. But then you're like, man, setting up that water bed was like waiting for a pot to boil. And just when we thought we were cleaned in the clay, bam, we hit the biggest snag you could imagine. That's like different voiceover from what you typically hear on YouTube with these videos. You understand? But now, not only is it different, is that I know that they can understand this. So an expression like, and just when we thought we were in the clear, bam. Maybe if I thought of it, I might not be certain whether that works or that doesn't work. But it's like, oh, well, this is coming from GPT, that has the training of the audience that we're talking about. And also, the Everybody Hates Chris is targeted at similar audience that we are targeting. So it just carries this unique thing where it's like the voiceover has some humor, but humor that is not my humor that is Everybody Hates Chris humor, that I would then learn. Because as somebody from Africa, from Nigeria, even though I'm very exposed to the American culture, it's always, I've talked about that before, it's a challenge to know which is JP's humor because he's Nigerian, or JP's humor because he's exposed to pop culture. You understand? Understanding why that is funny is a tricky zone to play for me. Because is it funny because of my history of being a Nigerian comedian or my awareness of American comedy? But with this is that I start to then learn from my voiceovers how to make one-line jokes in between things. You understand? So say a voiceover, I'm looking for another typical voiceover. Let's say something even simple. Now it's time to go to the store and get all the supplies we need for this gaming room. Which you see in the videos, and it's all normal. You hear that. It's just the voiceovers are usually just voiceovers with the intention of communicating what's happening next. But with this, you can then communicate what's happening next and add a humor that is extremely unique on the platform, because there is not that. Now it was crunch time, heading to the store to scoop up every last thing we needed for this epic gaming room. It was like prepping for a mission to Mars, only cooler. You understand? And that just gives it this. You also get this whole Disney Nickelodeon type vibe from it. You understand? So that's when we wrote this, I don't know if GPT was available or not, or maybe GPT-4 was not there, or I've just not become that close with GPT for it to hit me. That's one way. But today, while I was reading out the voiceovers for the school launch video, I had finished doing the ideation, blah blah, and it was ready. And I was like, I like this. I did a lot of things. And I was okay, write it. And I liked all the lines that I had, and it was good to go. And then it hit me. Now that I have it the way I want. Wait, what if these voiceovers had some humor to them in the style of Everybody Hates Chris? Because people who do these videos just say the voiceovers. You understand? But now there's humor, and I tried that, and that's how you had that. And so you have something like, now we got vegetable soup with salt and crackers. The 1930s, when times were so tough, even the soup was on a budget. That's kind of thing you hear in Everybody Hates Chris. Now, for the person, it's just like, oh, the 1930s, this was during the Great Depression. People didn't have food, and now they had to manage these, and then they go ahead and test it. It's just like actual information. But now it can carry some humor. The 1930s, when times were so tough, even the soup was on a budget. But hey, at least it kept you full until you got back home. If you're lucky enough to have a home, then the testing begins. You understand? Coming at you, spam sandwiches. 1940s, World War II. And spam wasn't just an email problem yet. It was what you ate when everything else was being sent overseas. Not exactly a culinary delight, but it got your job done. And this is writing, you have the usual, B-rolls showing the war and whatever. You're just not saying a dry, empty line. It carries humor. And in the style of Everybody Hates Chris, that is so fitting for my personality and my persona.
I love it
So did it for this one, and then you then have, there's still like some liners in the review that I kind of just, so with the content of the video, you want it to feel natural, you want it to feel organic, so I don't want it like scripted, like everything we're going to be saying. But also there are things I did like here that when they're making the video, I'm like, okay, maybe Stephanie said this, okay, maybe Steph this. Looks like what my great grandma talks about. Maybe like this says, and Stephanie's like, oh, it's like time travel on a plate. Some remarks that are Everybody to Hate Chris like has that sort of humor that we can borrow to include in our natural reactions to still maintain that style across the video. And the video is fully distinct. It's just like literally getting the food. I have like the whole thing planned out for each of the decade, the intro, everything. Is literally just getting the food and sitting down and just like reviewing them food after food, food after food. But finished that, and I was, like I said, planning that later this morning I was going to go and then find out what do we need, and then start getting that throughout today. Boom. Tomorrow, just go and film it, because it's like everything is ready. What to say? Just get the food and then sit down. We're doing like sit down at one spot and do it, and and then I crashed. But I'm very excited about the Everybody Hates Chris style thing, voiceover, because just like you see with like a gaming room video, all this kind of video, it just transforms the video.
It gives it just a different
vibe.
Yes.
That really makes you, should you click on it, and also the nostalgic feeling of if you've seen that or if you've come across it before of that, but also whatever effect that had on people. This is it's a way to stand out and still be correct and effective, but also funny, which is something that I can touch my personality. And I didn't even think of it. Let me take something like an intro. And take something like an intro we already have for a video that is simple, and see if you can throw humor. Yeah. Now for intros, it's skeptical. I want to make sure that the points are still relevant and it doesn't get diluted with a joke. So I'm not necessarily going to do that, but it's to see what it does to that. So I went on Amazon. See, doesn't still work for the intro. The intro needs to be like catchy and straight to the point. And so that's it. I doubt the intro line will need humor. It's maybe after, like the lines, everything afterwards, you can throw that, but it's like straight up. I went on Amazon and bought 250 of the most banned items on the planet.
Yes.
And then it picks on. So, but when they hit my head out, what did they call that? Yeah, I punched because I was like, yeah, fuck, yeah, that just really, that's just Chris' uniqueness. Like, yes. That just really makes it unique. Also adds humor flawlessly. And you kind of see that with Ryan Tran's videos, but not in the style of Everybody Hates Chris, where the voiceovers carry humor in them. And then I also kind of looked at the structure of Disney videos. I looked at the structure of Everybody Hates Chris videos to just get like an outline if a YouTube video was made in the style of it, the moment, and you see something like, oh, the introduction, that's it, so initial conflict, escalating problems, climatic problem, resolution with a lesson and conclusion, then call to action and farewell. This was the funny part. Then I saw it even add like a funny, memorable sign-off line or catchphrase, which I already had the intention of, which is like the Hasta la Vista baby thing. And seeing it like mention that as a like in that, and then structure sense capture the comedic and active idea for engaging and entertaining content on YouTube. So that's a structure inspiration for like how the story is usually told on those shows. Because I was just like, I still, even apart from the Everybody Hates Chris style voiceover, just trying to learn from these shows the structure they follow, and that could just be some unique. Because if I'm going to go unique, I'm not going to use my creativity purely. I'm going to use something that has proven to grab the attention of young American audiences. You understand? And so that's why I was thinking Disney shows, the Nickelodeon shows, these things did grab the attention. What can I learn from there and put to YouTube as a way to make the videos unique? But not unique just based on, my own idea, but unique based on, something that actually does work. And so you see, this summarize the episodes, events, and lesson is what you see Ryan try and do at the end of every video that I like, that I want to do, that I talked about doing, of just having an ending summary. This thing is summarizing the event, the episode's event and lesson. Is also, if I'm not mistaken, Chris learns a variable lesson. Okay, so I told it to do a particular. Okay, is this so like it's still kind of similar thing of learning. This is it here. Okay. Wrap up the story with a funny and insightful narration. Funny but with some lesson. That's the equivalent of above there of summarizing the episode's event and lesson. You know, unwrapping those 100 boxes initially did feel like it was blah blah blah. But if there's anything that I've learned, it's that no matter how bad the product is, there's always room for back. And then cut to end screen. Which brings me to the next update.